to truly practice gratitude, you got to do some work. Because if all you see is what you're not doing for me, and this is not what I planned on, this is not the life I wanted, and you're this, and to stop that noise takes enormous effort. And then to go farther and say, I'm thankful for you in this.
All right, here we are.
Hey, hi.
We're back.
We are back.
This episode is going to be a life changer for someone listening.
I believe that, absolutely.
Because I believe that gratitude can change the course and the direction of any aspect of your life.
Well, I think it has to, right? Because gratitude, there is something in the essence of gratitude that psychologically makes you change. If you're not going down the pathway of gratitude, you have to change. So I think just by that, if someone were to lean into, okay, I'm choosing to be thankful and have gratitude going forward, it literally has to change the direction of their life because it changes your whole outlook of how you look at the world and the filter through which you see it. 100%.
Yeah, it actually happened to me this week. This week I had just a crazy work week, and it was us, working really late nights a lot. And it was just an out of the ordinary week for us. And it was really weighing on me. And so like Thursday, Friday, I was just exhausted and just done. And I would wake up and I would be just super tired. And knowing that we were going to be doing this episode, it really helped me to be reminded of the power of gratitude. And, also just being November, being like close to Thanksgiving, it was just a really great reminder for me to set my mind on the things that I was thankful for. And so both Thursday and Friday, I purposely took a chunk of time just to like journal out the things that I was grateful for. And it really did change the course and the direction of my morning. It wasn't perfect and I still struggled at times, but when I struggled, I was like, okay, so what are the things that I'm thankful for? I'm so grateful that I have a job that allows me to be able to work like late into the evening. I was so thankful that we had a flexible schedule this week, that we were able to work as late as we were. I was thankful that we did work as late because it helped me to be able to not feel so overwhelmed in the morning. And so even just those few little things, a lot of people could look at them and be like, well, that actually sounds like it sucks. It really helped me to reframe what I was feeling, because I was just feeling exhausted and tired and overwhelmed. And it helped me to be able to see that it's like, okay, like I'm actually grateful for all of these opportunities, because all of these opportunities allow us to live the life that we live.
And I think with an outlook like that, I think in any scenario, I'll say most scenarios. In most scenarios, depending on how you look at it, if you look at it through a lens of appreciation, of thankfulness, of choosing gratitude, because that is the truth. Gratitude isn't something that comes upon you naturally. Sometimes it may be so overwhelming, something happens and you're thankful, like you get out of a really bad spot and you're just thankful for it. Most of the time, though, you have to choose to have gratitude. And so I think in many situations, when you look at situations in your life, either in relationships or in just circumstances that are happening to you, if you choose to have gratitude, you can actually find something in even a very dark moment. You can find something to be thankful for and have gratitude for it. And imagine what it would be like. I know there's been seasons of my life and our life that everything I see, I'm truly thankful for. I'm like, my gosh, you really look at it and you're just like, wow. But it's so easy to not have that filter on because our default is self-centered, right? I'm concerned about what's happening to me. And naturally that goes to the negative space. What What do I have to do? Why is this happening to me? All of those kinds of things. So naturally, you don't look at things with a lens of gratitude. You have to choose to be in that place of having gratitude. And when you do it, you seriously can find things to be thankful for. And it completely changes the way you think when you spend time to find them. Because sometimes you got to search for it. Sometimes you got to do some digging. Like you got to get the shovel out of emotional strength and find the thing that's good. But there's something we heard it at church. It's so funny that at church we're doing a series on gratitude. We just happen to already have gratitude as our subject. And it's this idea of you can't have like this dissatisfaction or I forgot the word that he used, but you can't have them both at the same time. You can't have gratitude and I'm not satisfied, right? You can't be truly thinking or feeling those things at the same time. That is a huge thing to realize.
It's interesting that you bring that up because Brene Brown, she does a lot of studies like on emotional, like feelings. And she's mainly like, she calls herself like a shame researcher, but she did this whole study on like joy. And she actually did this whole chapter in her book about gratitude and how she actually says that all the people that she found that had a deep satisfaction, like of joy and just like, because it wasn't happiness, it was this deep, like overwhelmingly sense of joy. They had gratitude as a part of their life, but it was interesting because the words that they used in this study, she found that it was like gratitude isn't a feeling, it's a practice. Yeah. And so you actually have to practice gratitude in order to find joy. And so it was like one of those like moments that you're just like, wow, that really makes sense. But it was also like one of those aha moments of where you realize how powerful gratitude is and how it's not a feeling. It's something that you have to practice. And so practice like makes perfect. So it's like you practicing it and like putting it at the forefront of your mind helps you to be able to actually walk it out.
Think about the implication of that. If it is that, and that resonates. When I hear that 100% resonates. When you think about that, you having to practice to become that person that so many times people, I'm one of them, want gratitude to happen to them. So I'm waiting for the circumstance to be right for me to then say, oh, I'm thankful for that.
Right.
But to know that, hey, this isn't something that happens to you. It's something that you practice and it becomes, wow. Like that alone to some may be like, oh my gosh, I just want it to happen to me. But the work and the practice to becoming, I keep wanting to say gracious. That's not, I keep phrasing it. And that's to becoming thankful, to be at a place of gratitude, knowing that you have to practice that, even the journey to do that. I'm going to keep saying, you literally become a different person because it's not natural to you.
Right.
It's just not
not
natural.
a feeling. So you can't wait to feel gratitude or a place of thankfulness in order to be thankful. You have to practice. So you have to go with like with this week. I could have like easily just skipped over that whole aspect of my week and just been like, oh, doomsday, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I just need to sleep more. But the intentional practice of gratitude, of saying, I'm choosing to be grateful and thankful in these moments, it changes the course of the rest of your day.
Absolutely. I mean, and just think what it's like in a marriage, marriage of being in a place of gratitude, not only for what you have, but for the relationship that you have and the person that you're in a relationship with.
Right.
If you have to practice that, because what I feel that what can often happen early in a relationship, I feel it's probably easy to be thankful and have gratitude for your spouse because it's new It's a honeymoon phase. This is great. But as the relationship goes on, you could be at a place of still being thankful and maybe have gratitude for these things. The thing is that you don't vocalize it. And now the things that you should still be thankful for, you now aren't necessarily knowingly thankful. They're just becoming the things that you expect, assume, and feel almost entitled to because that's the relationship that you had, right? Just in our own. You said something to me. Oh, it was just yesterday. It was yesterday where you were gone for a little bit in the morning. I spent time to put clothes away and stuff like that. You came home and you said, "Thank you for doing that." Well, that meant something to me because it was, it was a lot of work, whatever. But even we've been together for 30 years. It's still not assumed that you just do it. Like, I don't need to say thank you. I'm thankful because that doesn't, if that is a reality in somebody's relationship that, well, they know they know that I appreciate it. I'm sorry. I don't know that that's accurate. Even if they told you, no, I know you appreciate it. It's different. It's different than when somebody says, thank you. Like every time that you make dinner, I purpose to say thank you every time. Because one, the life that we live, sometimes it's hard to make dinner and you're just like, I've worked for 12 hours. I don't want to make dinner. Totally get it. Still do it. And I'm honestly, truly thankful for that. And it didn't make it any less sucky, the fact that you had to work all the time but do it, but at least it acknowledges the fact that I understand you had to get over yourself, get over the desire that you don't want to have to do this, but still do it. The necessity and the critical nature of being in a place of thankfulness and expressing gratitude to your spouse at every stage of life, to me, is critical because they need to hear it.
Yeah. Gratitude also leads to connection.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the more that you're connected, the more naturally you feel gratitude towards one another. So I think that that's why a lot of newlyweds, it's come so naturally to be grateful for the spouse. And really, it's like, if you look at it, when there's like, a resurrection of relationship, or when there's like that like honeymoon phase, there is that level of like, oh my gosh, I just love you. I'm so grateful for you. And it's like, there's this overwhelmingly, because it's you're in that state of overflow of gratitude, of love, of care, of nurture. And because of that gratitude, it leads to that connection. So then when you're withholding that gratitude, there becomes that wedge of, I think, silence. And I think one of the crazy things is that the opposite of gratitude is actually that entitlement of, I deserve, like, you're supposed to do, or like, this is your job. All of these labels that we kind of place on our spouse of, this is what you do, this is what I do.
Which is easy to do.
Yeah.
100%. We've lived that life.
Oh my gosh.
You do this, I do this. No one said anything, but it's like, this is what we do.
And we can easily fall into it.
Absolutely.
But it's that level of entitlement, and that's the opposite of gratitude. So then when we start changing it into like, hey, I see you. Like, when I came home, I was like, oh wow, like, I saw the effort that it took. Neither one of us wanted to do it.
No, because we looked at it for 5 days.
Because there was laundry
everywhere. Literally everywhere.
But it's just really interesting because it's like choosing to say, I see this, I see you, like, I see that you did this for us. It wasn't just for you.
Right. No.
There's been times in our marriage where it's felt like
I'm doing this because I need to do it for me.
Exactly. Yeah. And it felt like this time you were really doing it for us. And it's like, recognizing that it's like every aspect of our relationship and of our marriage is actually a gift. It's not something that it's like, I expect you to serve me in this way. it's like, it's actually a gift. And therefore it's like, if you were to give me a gift, I'm going to say thank you.
No, absolutely. And I think one of the things, even in marriages that even right now would be maybe tense, or their tone of language is normally complaint, defensiveness, that's just their normal tone.
Right.
I strongly believe that if one or both began to practice gratitude, it could literally rewire how they communicate, because it's almost takes you off guard. If the environment that your relationship is all about being defensive, complaint,
Right.
what you're not doing for me, if you then change that, because to truly practice gratitude, you got to do some work. Because if all you see is what you're not doing for me, and this is not what I planned on, this is not the life I wanted, and you're this, and to stop that noise takes enormous effort. And then to go farther and say, I'm thankful for you in this. Not only does that change you, but it absolutely breaks down, not that you want to break down your partner, but you want to break down that sense of being defensive and argumentative, and like,
Right.
it can literally change. It could change an environment almost instantly, because especially if gratitude is not even a thing, that there's not even a seed of gratitude in your relationship, that literally can save a relationship, because it takes time for you to see it, especially if you're on your own, you're circling the drain. You're like, you can't, like, you really have a hard time appreciating anything that your spouse does for you. But that you can find, I guarantee you can find something, because they are doing something that is meaningful to you. Or even if it's not meaningful to you, maybe it's meaningful to your kids, maybe it's meaningful to your neighbor, maybe it's their coworker, something. You can find something to say, you know what, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I even if you can't say I appreciate it, you can say, I know our neighbor appreciates that, or I know our kids really appreciate when you do that. Wow. And man, especially if you don't want to. You know, it has to break down if you don't want to say that.
Yeah.
Like, if you really want to win and then you take that route, wow, what a game changer.
Well, and I would even, I would challenge that a little bit on a different aspect of where, for me, I read this book by Ann Voskamp. It's called a Thousand Gifts, and it was challenging to write down 1,000 things that you were grateful for. So it's like, she broke it down into, like, I can't remember the number, but it was like you had to write down, 20 things a day. And it was all about, because a lot of the times we focus on the negatives and we get stuck in our habitual circle and cycle of only seeing the bad things or the negative things, or there's not enough time. So we have that scarcity mindset. We tend to, it's easier to see the negative and the bad than it is to see the good and the great.
No responsibility in it.
Yeah. And it's a lot of the times it's putting blame on someone else instead of taking responsibility for what we're possibly going through or our part in that. And so what it did, though, is we were going through a really hard time in our marriage. And actually, I don't even know that you would have known that it was a really hard time in our marriage, but I was personally going through a really hard time of where I felt isolated. I didn't feel seen. I didn't feel cared for. I didn't feel loved. And all I did was only see the negative things that you did, or the things that we didn't have, or like a stupid example, but it's like, this one always stands out to me, and I still have the gift that you gave me. But for it was like my birthday or something, you gave me this set of pink pajamas, and it was funny because you were like, aren't they like so soft? And at that point, I was just going through a phase of where it's like, I really didn't like anything girly. And they were pastel pink with big black bows on them. And I was like so resentful because I was like, you don't even know me. And it's like, and I was so like torn up about these pajamas because I was like, you don't know me, you don't see me. And they were super uber soft. And you were like, aren't they super soft? And I'm like, of course you would buy me ones that are super soft because you care about super soft. You don't even know
Which
the
I
things
do.
that I care about. And
Which I do.
but it was so funny because it's like these jammies really tore me up, and it was in the middle of me doing this gratitude thing. And so it was really hard for me to it's like the stupidest example, but it's like I had written a story about what those pajamas meant and what they stood for. And
I'm learning stuff today.
And
My goodness.
But I had to undo it, but I could only do it through gratitude. So I was like, it wasn't me being thankful for the pajamas. It was, I'm thankful for my husband thinking that he knows the things that I want and he tried really hard. So it was like I had to go around so many different ways to rewrite the story through gratitude, and it helped me to be able to rewrite that. But it was like gratitude was the place that I needed to go and the journey that I needed to go on in order to rewrite the stories that I had written in our relationship. And so it changed who I was. And because of who I had become, because I had become this negative Nancy, I had become this person that only thought that your motives were self-centered and only to please you and not to please me. I felt like you didn't see me, you didn't know me anymore. So it's like all of these narratives that I had created and written, I could only rewrite them through gratitude. Because then once I rewrote them through gratitude, I started seeing the effort that you did make. I started seeing the person that you really were. I started seeing your character, not your flaws. I started seeing all of the goodness that we actually did have in our marriage, because the enemy had kind of blinded me to the fact that our relationship was actually good, because I had created all these false narratives in my head. The only way to undo those false narratives was through the practice of gratitude.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
See, that's the long journey.
Right.
That's not the one that's just this quick, like, you know what, I'm so thankful for you. And then it just the scales fall off. Like literally
Right.
that it's I'm not going to say it's a job because it makes it over, but you would know. I mean, it takes so much to sometimes to get there.
Yes. And it takes effort. And that's why I wanted to say that, yes, you can will yourself to say thank you to the person. But I also think that it's like it starts with an inner work in you, to where all of a sudden I don't have to will myself so hard, and I don't have to jump through so many hoops to be able to be grateful, because I'm actually working internally, because gratitude is something that needs to be practiced, like we kind of said in the beginning.
Inauthentic gratitude, would you say, does not give you the benefit of true thankfulness?
I think it's all the motivation of the heart. I think sometimes you can start the process of gratitude and then your heart will follow. So
because if it doesn't come natural, I'm like, you got to start somewhere.
Right.
Like, hey, thanks for the whatever, you know.
Well, for me, it was before I could even be grateful for the things that you did, I had to even start seeing anything. So I had to be like, okay, I'm grateful for that leaf on that tree, because that leaf on that tree provides shade. And I really like feeling shade when when it's a hot day.
Yeah, that's great.
I really am grateful for the wind. I had to start being grateful for just natural things, because I had grown so cold in my heart, because I was so desensitized to seeing any of the things that I could be grateful for, because I was so stuck. And so I believe that you can will yourself to, like, if I could have been like, I'm so grateful for the pink pajamas.
Right.
Like
I don't even know whether, do you even have them? You have
I do. I actually just wore them, like it was a couple weeks ago.
Oh, see, now I don't, oh, now I want to know what they are.
No, I'll
Which
show
one?
you tonight.
Okay. All right.
But it's just funny because it's just one of those things that I think you can will yourself to be grateful. But the goal
to start though,
the goal is to have it be authentic, because then it becomes more natural and then it will actually flow.
That's when transformation happens.
Yes.
Yep.
Because if you're just always faking it, for one, I think your partner is going to sense the fakeness.
Yep.
Because it's not going to be authentic, and no one knows you better than your partner. And so I do believe that the inauthenticity shines through in those moments. But really, the goal isn't just to be thankful for thankful's sake. Like, the goal is to actually have joy come oozing out of you, and to actually have a spirit of gratitude upon you, so that it's like you're not just being thankful towards your spouse. You're not being just thankful towards your kids or your job or your coworkers. You're actually living in a state of gratitude, because that is contagious.
That is a complete paradigm shift, I think, for many people. I would say that is a different worldview for people, because if you're constantly having a view of this world that you deserve everything you get that's good, and you don't deserve anything that happens to you that's bad, and that's how you look at everything. I deserve all of the things. To now change your outlook on life to be, I am thankful for all of the things. And you could get to a certain place into your life to where you'll be, I'm thankful for my hardships as well, because of now who I am. And there's many people that we know that would say they go back and they look upon their life and all of the bad things that have happened. I mean, we just went to a conference recently where Bethany Hamilton's out there, and she said, I would never change anything that's happened to me. Shark took her arm off and just everything. She would say to go back, and I would not change that because of who I am. So she actually looks at her difficulty and says, thank you. She has gratitude towards that simply because of who it made her to this day. What if we had that type of outlook on life, that now us as faith believing people and our faith friends out there, the proper way of looking when you're living God's way is that everything that comes your way, all of it is even if it's bad in how we look at it, God turns it into something good because that's how good he is. Now, for us, it's a great place to be, to always have an attitude of gratitude and always operating that space. But it's so easy to not be in that space. Not too long ago, I'm sitting around here, I'm cleaning, I'm doing all this stuff, and I find resentment building up because I feel, I mean, you're busy, you're doing stuff, and I just feel like I'm just kind of doing all of this stuff. And I really had to check myself. I'm sitting there doing the dishes going, what kind of a life is this to just be angry, to be irritated, and why can't, because here's a completely different view. I have a job that gives me a work-life balance that allows me to do this stuff at home. My job allows me to work at home and be able to do my job, my life, this thing. And I can be thankful for all of that because it can be completely different, and to where I'm doing the dishes at 9:30 at night, like many people do, like many people have to. And my changing my own view, and you have to change it. It takes effort to change that. You now look at completely different. Now I'm just thankful. Now it's like, hey, I get to do that. That's great. I'm glad that I can. I'm glad I can just get up for 15 minutes and go do something that helps us as a family, as a couple, and just makes our life lighter. I'm glad I'm able to do that. That's a great thing. But many times I believe people sit there, they're doing the dishes, and they're just pissed off because someone else is not doing it and I have to do it.
Yeah.
Now,
been there, done that.
yeah. I mean, the reality is that if you start keeping a record or a tally of who does this, who does that, for one, I don't think it takes you anywhere that's positive. Now, for some relationships, I think there are some practical reasons that you do that, just because you have your kids and the kids need to get somewhere, and you need to do this and I need to do that. So I get all of that. But if it starts to become a life of resentment, it becomes very dangerous. I know John Gottman's book. I forgot the name of it.
Oh, Love Wins?
No, that's Rob Bell.
Oh, John Gottman.
It's the
marriage one?
Yeah, the 5.
Oh, it's like seven tools to practice for a perfect marriage or something.
Yeah, it's a book that we highly recommend.
Yeah.
And it was sorry, I really had it in my mind. You'd think I'd have it in my notes, but one of his insights, so there was 4 horsemen, right? The 4 horsemen that destroy, good. That absolutely destroy. Yeah. One of them was contempt. Contempt can destroy your marriage. Well,
define contempt for our people that don't know. Oh
man, contempt. That's a great question. Contempt.
Sorry.
I mean, it's no. I know when it's disgust.
It's like ick.
Yeah, it's disgust over your partner. Like, I just can't stand you. You just being here. Like, if I had contempt for you and you're just like, oh, I'm thankful for what you did. It's just like, you know why you're saying that? You're saying that because you're rubbing it in my face because I never do it. Right? That's contempt, right?
Yeah.
Well, what the Gottman Institute, John Gottman, his institute, what they say is a culture of appreciation is the key antidote to contempt. So if you have a culture of appreciating each other in your marriage, you absolutely eliminate one of the 4 horsemen, because contempt can't live in an environment. There's a true appreciation and gratitude.
And the 4 horsemen are the ones that destroy a marriage.
Correct. Yeah, those are the ones that are coming in to kill. Right.
Yeah, which is crazy. And I think that's like a great segue into talking about like the things that hold us back in showing gratitude towards our spouse. Yep. And so one of them is just like, I think just like getting too comfortable. It's like,
so true.
It's like kind of like what you touched on earlier. It's like you do your roles, I do mine. We just kind of cohabitate. We, assume that each other knows that we're grateful for them. And so what we
Busyness,
do is we
comparison.
Normal
life
just becomes just too normal to where it's like we stop actually seeing the things that it's like our spouses are doing.
We've been in that many times. We've been in that rut of just like, what in the world is happening? Like, we're roommates right now that occasionally have physical intimacy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of get in a space to where you're not emotionally really connected at all. And then you just don't, it's like you don't see each other. Yeah. It's so easy. And that's what happens in busyness, right? You're so busy. Now listen, you're working hard. I get that. Everybody needs to work hard. But if you don't add that culture of thankfulness, it's going to erode, your relationship is going to erode over time. And the way back is hard, but it can be chipped away. That hardness, because that's what happens. You become hard. Now you're almost like you're there's a barrier between you and your spouse or your partner, and it's all because there is no there's no gratitude, there's no acknowledgement for what I do. It's like you're not seen, you're not heard, you're not cared for. And that's where now you think that's the normal part of life. Gratitude is the weapon that starts to break that down.
Yeah. I think what's interesting is that as you get further and further down the line in marriage, you actually start recognizing and realizing that, wow, like we're actually at the point that we prayed for years ago.
Oh man, that's a great point.
But you're so busy and you're so blinded to that reality that you don't even see the blessings that got you to that point.
That's a great point.
And it's like, I mean, because I know we were talking the other day that it's like we could never have even imagined that our marriage would be at the place that it is today, because it's like we always thought that it was, I mean, we've definitely had seasons, but it's like, we always thought that we had a pretty good marriage, but it's like, oh my gosh, like where we are today, it's like we would have never even imagined.
Didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. We didn't even know that it was possible, but it's like, it's only when you stop and you recognize that, because it's like, wow, like we didn't even know that we were praying for this. And it's like,
that's great.
That's
so good. Wow.
And it's powerful to actually just stop and look back at how far you've come and be grateful for those moments. It's like, you know, but then also recognizing where have we allowed things to slip. You know, it's like, oh, like when we were doing laundry together, like folding laundry, it's like we used to always like talk. Well, now we always watch a show. So it's like, are there certain things that we need to like tune up and tailor either for our new lifestyle or new season of life, or are there things that we need to do to enhance or bring in or stop doing? You know, there's that.
Yep. No, and that's really good.
I think another place that can kind of cause us not to show gratitude is comparison.
No.
I think that's a huge one. And I think that a lot of the times we're always like, oh, well, so and so, they do. But we've talked about this so much that you only see like a small portion of what their marriage like really is.
Yeah, the highlight reel.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, you can also say that it's like, you know, I'm not good enough, or he's not good enough, or she's not good enough, or I don't have enough time. So you have like, again, that scarcity mindset of just like, well, there's never enough. So therefore I'm not going to.
It's like I mean, I'll say it again. Those things can't cohabitate. If that's what you spend your time on, in other words, comparison, focusing on unmet expectations, like all of that type of a mindset, gratitude can't get in there.
Right.
That it's not a thing. Now, gratitude can come in and start to demolish those things, right? And what's important to point out is just because you begin to have thankfulness and gratitude for things in your life doesn't eliminate maybe some concerns that you have. So this isn't this isn't flying blind. This isn't being like, okay, I now forget everything and now we're just going to do, this isn't sweep under the rug mentality. That's not what we're saying. But you can still have issues. You can still have problems, but you can find you can find things that are good and that you're thankful for, because what the gratitude is going to do is it's going to help you see more clearly actually the problems that may be there, because it's going to break down all of the self-interest. It's going to break down all of the things that, oh, me, myself, and I, because gratitude is going to help you open your eyes to others, your spouse, your situation, your togetherness. And then now you can more effectively work on the things that you want to work on because you now see them clearly. Before they're blurred. It's just all big suck. You know, it just sucks. Well, have some gratitude and you have some clarity. And then some of those things fall off because you understand it doesn't actually weigh that much. It's like, well, that's actually not important. And then, I mean, take it a step further. As you begin to practice gratitude, you start to see yourself more clearly.
Right.
Because you start to then go, my gosh, why does that bother me so much? What in the world? What? Because you break it away and you go, what is actually the problem then?
Right.
If this is good and that's good and that's good and that's good, why the math doesn't add up anymore? See, that's the brilliance of being thankful, because it positions your heart, your spirit, your mind on such a different plane that those things that try to drag you down can't reach you because you're at a different space in your mind.
Yeah. No, it's so true. I think there's so many things that block us from being able to show that appreciation and gratitude towards our spouse. I think another one is hurt.
No, yeah.
Any kind of like resentment like blocks the pathways to gratitude.
And that just elevates entitlement. You hurt me.
Exactly.
You hurt me. Like
it all
you hurt me and
goes to that.
Oh my gosh. And this just rises up. Entitlement's my best friend. It's going to kick your Right. You know what I mean? Honestly,
Yeah.
because you
No,
feel
it's
that
true.
way. It's like, I have a pain. I'm broken. Now, you're going to tell me to be thankful and have, have great, have gratitude
Right.
when you hurt me. See, that's a hard, I'm not saying that's easy, but that's a
Yeah.
hard path.
And then that's where it's like, I go back to, you don't necessarily need to be grateful for the things that your spouse is doing. You just need to start practicing gratitude
The
in the
leaf,
small things,
the
in the
wind.
leaf, in
Yeah.
the wind,
Yep.
in, like even just like when the kids were little, it's like the sounds of like their laughter, like, like those types of
Yeah.
things. Like, I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for Barney because it allowed me 10 minutes of alone time, or
That's right.
I was able to go to the bathroom by myself. I'm
What about
grateful
the
for
spaceship
those.
one? What was this? Little rocket ship in a vine. And what was it?
Little Einstein.
Okay. That was such a good one. That
Oh
was
gosh,
such a
now I'm
great
gonna have that song in my head.
Absolutely. But you're right. Being thankful for those moments, and even in the midst of it, just being like, oh my gosh, again, it's looking at the same thing from a different angle, but you have to try to do that because your default generally isn't that. Maybe some personalities are. That's fine, and that's great for you.
Mm-hmm.
For the rest of us, our default is, well, that sucks for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a bummer for me.
Because you get blinded, so your peripheral kind of goes inward to where you're only able to see a limited view because our pain shrinks our view. Our pain makes us go inward and not see the whole picture.
Yep.
And to where all of a sudden now it's like we're so micro focused on X, Y, and Z, when really it's like there's a whole alphabet that is still in the picture.
That's a great way to put that.
And so it's like, I think that there's just so many different things that we need to take into consideration, especially when we're hurt. What is our ownership? What are ways to combat our feelings and our negativity? And do I need to be upset and angry for X amount of days? Like sometimes it's like I put like a time frame on my hurt, and I say, okay, I'm allowing myself to be hurt until this moment, and then I'm gonna put my big girl pants on, and I'm gonna start walking in freedom, and I'm gonna start walking in being an overcomer, because I don't want my pain to hold me back from seeing purpose and walking in my potential.
That's 100%.
Right.
And one of the things also with gratitude in hard seasons is that, we talked a little bit about this, is it doesn't deny the pain, it just reframes it a bit. Right? Pain's still there.
Oh yeah.
But it reframes it a bit, which I think is good to know. It's not what you're seeing may still be true. It's just going to look a little bit different. I had this written down for the enemy of gratitude is entitlement, which we've just been naturally talking about that. And it says these statements. It says, entitlement says you owe me. Gratitude says I see your effort. Right?
That's good.
Entitlement leads to resentment. Gratitude leads to restoration. And isn't it interesting? Just even, because we've said this before, but I always like to say it again. We don't talk before we do the podcast. So it's always a surprise.
Always a surprise.
It's always a surprise, but because we want natural conversation,
Right.
we want it to come and that's it. But it's interesting how just naturally what we're talking about, entitlement is the thing that comes up and resentment is the reality. And I think the reason why that's true is because we felt it ourselves.
Yeah.
That is a real tangible result that we felt ourselves, and many people do. So there is no shame or guilt on that. That is the direction that you are calculated to go in a default posture of normal human behavior, being together for a certain period of time. That's going to happen. So you have to with intention and effort put in your tool belt, I am going to be thankful and have gratitude. And one of the things too, we just at church today, we were at church today, and the message was on gratitude. And I love what he says, that you can be thankful in your heart and not show it. That's not gratitude, which was interesting. Gratitude is when it's thankfulness from your feeling is then expressed to the one that you're thankful for. So for our faith friends, that could be God. Like I'm truly thankful, Lord, for the things that you're doing in my life, or your spouse, or your friend, or any relationship you have. Because this is not just a marriage scenario. This is a relationship scenario. You can be appreciative of your boss at work, and you show gratitude of, I appreciate how you lead me, how you structure our work, or how you do this or this. Like we just went on a retreat with your company. I am so grateful that spouses are allowed to be a part of that. And I want to make sure they always know that. And I always make sure to every partner, I want you to know, I am so appreciative that you do this, because
I think we overshowered them with gratitude.
Yeah,
because they go above and beyond. So it's easy to show gratitude. But can you imagine if I worked for a company that didn't do that, and it was like us having because that's an easy scenario of us being able to, it's easy for us to show gratitude because it was so amazing and it was so gracious, and it was just,
that's absolutely true.
It was a perfect weekend.
That's absolutely true.
But if we were having a really hard time, how difficult it would have been for us to show gratitude, because it's really easy to show gratitude when everything is going really well. It's more difficult when I'm going through something personally, or when I'm feeling stuck, or when I'm feeling hurt, when I'm feeling resentment, or I'm feeling entitlement. It's like, you name it. It's like, to be able to get over yourself, to be able to show that gratitude is really challenging.
And I'm having to get over the fact that you trashed my illustration with such a great point.
I'm so sorry.
And I'm grateful for it, because it is so true. Because that is so true. Because my mindset was, well, of course you're going to be grateful for that.
Yeah.
Well, be grateful in the midst that, okay, like you said, what if that never happened? Can you still be grateful just for the fact that you have a job?
Yeah.
You know what? Sometimes, gosh, because I've been there before. I've been there to a place to where all you can say is just, thank you for the job, right? Like I remember being where I work. I mean, I've been there for 20 years. There's been times where, I had expectations that were not met, and I felt were reasonable, and they weren't met, and I was angry. I felt that I'm going to say it, I felt entitled to the thing just because of the effort that I put forth. But I had to switch my mind and say, you know what? I'm thank you. I know that you're putting forth effort for me. I know that it didn't happen the way we all thought, but I know you are putting effort forth, and that's what I have to thank you for that, and be truly thankful for that, because it is a complete and total shift from me to now everything else.
And I think that what's really interesting about that situation is because nothing in your job has actually changed over the last 20 years. Your job has pretty much stayed consistent, but one of the most interesting things about that entire scenario, most of the time, your discouragement with your job and your dissatisfaction with your job has been because you wanted to have purpose. You wanted to have life meaning, to where sometimes people could say, oh, well, that's a righteous dissatisfaction. Like that's a good, holy dissatisfaction. And I think
which I think is a thing, but
which is a thing. Yeah. But I think what is interesting is that it's like when we start feeling like there is a holy dissatisfaction, we have to watch our hearts, because that's a fine line of becoming like not grateful for the things, because we could have easily squandered away your job and not allowed like your job to continue, and we could have like pulled the ejection button and been out of a job. But that job has allowed us a lot of freedom in the last 20 years. Wonderful. And we've been really blessed by it. Yeah. And so we have to be careful that our dissatisfaction doesn't cause us to miss God's blessings because we're not willing to see his provision and being grateful in those moments.
Yeah, no. And that's 100% the case. And it has been the case over and over.
It's just so interesting. So I think that we can easily say that gratitude is so essential in every relationship. I wouldn't say that it's just the marriage. I would say that in every relationship, gratitude is so essential. And so let's see, I think that this episode is releasing on Wednesday, but right before Thanksgiving.
It is.
Yeah. So I would just,
timing.
challenge our listeners just to really be intentional.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously this is a season of where it's like gratitude is top of mind, but really make sure that it's like, you're not withholding speaking those moments and taking those times just to be like, hey, I see you. Like, you know, not only to your spouse, but to your kids, to your job, to the people that you have influence around. It's like, let's just be people that it's like we are being grateful and showing gratitude in every situation, because that not only changes us, but it can also change the course of someone's day.
Absolutely.
So
All about it.
Anything else to say?
No.
Anything else to add?
No, I would say, since we're going into that, I love the built-in gratitude season every year. Being thankful. It's a wonderful reminder.
Yeah.
I know that the encouragement circles, always love those, because there's times, especially during Thanksgiving, you could be there with your family and just use that time. Just say, I'm thankful for you and all that you do, and be certainly absolutely meaningful to all of your family. So this is a great opportunity to do that, especially going into that time.
Yeah.
So
I think that what's so interesting about that is that we have a built-in cyclical pattern.
we do.
Of once a year there being times of thankfulness. So I'm ready for it. I'm here for it.
Love it.
And I'm grateful for you.
I'm grateful for you. I love you.
Love you.